everybody, thanks for joining me. Today I thought we would learn how to embroider constellations. So we're going to get started. We're going to need an 8-inch piece of fabric. We're going to need some embroider floss. I've chosen to use a white and a yellow floss. You're going to need an 18 size tapestry needle. You're going to need an embroider hoop. You could use a 4-inch or a 6-inch, and I chose to use the 4-inch. You're also going to need fabric scissors, a marking pencil, and then your zodiac pattern. So mine is Cancer, so I'm going to use this one. We're going to put little holes here where the stars go, and you can just use a pen to poke that through. And you're going to poke through those little stars, and go ahead and make sure you get it on the other side as well so you can see. So this is the Cancer zodiac sign. And we're going to take our embroider hoop. You can put the bottom one here, place here, and then place your fabric over top. Make sure you've got some fabric on all the sides. Then you're going to take your embroider hoop. You're going to place it over top of the fabric. You have to unscrew this little, if you have the screw kind, unscrew that a little bit. And then you're going to put that on top of the fabric, tighten that back up. Then I'm going to place my pattern on top. So kind of see however you want it to show up. Kind of eyeball that. Then you're going to take a marking pencil. Since you're using some dark fabric, you want a lighter marking pencil. And put that through where your holes are, which were going to be where the stars are. And then you can kind of mark over it a little bit. And if you make a mistake with these, you can just kind of brush it out a little bit with your finger. So now I can look and see, yeah, that looks pretty well. I'm going to match that up. And I'm going to use white for my stars. You could also use another color. You could use blue if you wanted to. Or a silver would be pretty as well if you had that. But a lot of people have white, so it's a good one to use. And you're gonna need to pull your thread a little bit tight, so you wanna trim that so you've got a good edge on it. And you may have to moisten it if it doesn't wanna go through very well, but I'm gonna try to do it. Try that again. This is why it's important to have an eye that's fairly big. And you're going to need a pretty good sized piece of embroider floss. So you could kind of measure, I'd say, a little bit less than a yard. And you're going to trim this off with your fabric scissors. And you're going to tie a knot on the end just by making a loop. Take your fingers, put this around your fingers, and then take the string or the thread and put it back through the hole. And you could probably double knot it, since when I was learning to sew, they always said to make sure you do a double knot. And we're only going to do one strand, because this is really 4 strands inside the embroidery thread. So you're going to have this hanging here, and this is how you would hold your needle, like so. And to embroider, you're going to want to come up on the back side first. So you're going to make a single stitch, and you're going to want to take your stitch through the back, and you want to put it about a little bit above where the dot is. And you're just going to make a single stitch, and then a little bit below the dot. Like so. That's a little big, but I just wanted you to be able to see. So then I'm going to do the other side. I'm going to go across, because I'm going to make a cross about maybe 1/8 of an inch there. You can just guess. It doesn't have to be perfect, because every star is different. So now you have a nice cross here. So then we're going to repeat the pattern, only a little bit smaller. So I'm going to take my needle and put it a little bit below the first stitch there, right on top, right beside or on top of the other one. Pull that through. And then of course we're gonna make it a little bit smaller here too. And then we're gonna do the same thing on the across stitch. So now I have my first star, and I'm gonna go to the next dot and do the same thing. Go over and then across. Then I'm going to repeat it on top of the, or very, very close to the first stitches. Bring it through the back side. Bring it a single stitch. Sometimes it gets a little knotted. You just, if it kind of pulls, just check on the other side to see what's going on over there, back there. You want to make sure you get it as close as you can to the first stitch. So we're going to go ahead and do the next point.
You'll continue to do this pattern until you finish all the stars.
The stars don't have to be perfect. Stars are not all the same. And the last one across. Got all my stars. This constellation only has 5 stars. So get that done. And now I'm going to go here on the back. And I'm going to go under one of my stitches here. Take my needle under it. And then I'm going to, then I've got like a loop there. So I'm going to put my needle through the loop to knot it off. You could do that a couple of times if you wanted to. And then you just trim your excess off. So the next thing I need to do is connect the stars. And I'm gonna use yellow embroidered thread for that. And again, you want, maybe an arm's length or a yard. You don't want it to be too big because it just comes kind of cumbersome. So now I've got that through, and I'm gonna make, just like the white thread, I'm gonna make a couple of knots. These knots didn't get really together, so I'm gonna add a third knot to put it together. Hopefully. Yeah, there we go. And I'm just gonna trim off a little bit of the excess, because I need that. So now I'm just gonna do this is just gonna be a simple single stitch connecting the dots, the stars. And again, you're gonna do that. You're gonna come in for underneath as close as you can get to the star, and then go back in the front. You're gonna do that until you have all your stars connected. And then we're gonna come around to the back again, and we're going to go under one of the stitches and make a loop like so, and then we're going to put our needle through the loop and then pull it tight, and that knots it off. And you're just going to cut that off. Then you can trim the excess with your fabric scissors. And you want to get as close as you can to the embroider hoop. You can always trim it a little bit more if you need to. And you might need to pull it tighter again as well. So if you need to do that, you can always pull it tight and then tighten it with the screw there. I'm gonna get all this trimmed off. And you could hang it just like this if you wanted, or you could put it in a little frame. Thank you for joining me in making this constellation.